Okay, I'm going to be showing you methods for gradient coloring. Last time I showed you shading and coloring for a single color ore, but let's say you wanted an ore that just had two colors, maybe. So there's two main ways that people do this. It's really dependent on the shape of the ore, what you do, but there are people that will a let's get oops let's get just two colors like this and this. They'll make it go across the entire ore, and then there are people that will just do it per segment, so that each individual segment, or each individual chunk of the ore, I guess, gets its own gradient, right? So I prefer to do it the per chunk ore way. I don't like to do the entire gradient across all at once. So first we need to decide on some colors. I didn't really have anything planned for this. So I'm just gonna go with, let's do, yeah, let's do this light pink into this like yellow orange color. Actually, let's do it into this like red orange. Yeah, this light pink to this red orange. Alright, so I always like to start with the bigger chunks so that I can have an idea of how I want to do the smaller chunks. So we're going to start off on our main piece right here. It's completely up to you which way you want the colors to go. But for here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the orange at the top and then the pink at the bottom. So I'm going to color pink. You don't need to focus on the gradient yet. You just want to get the areas that you want to be more of a certain color. So like, I want this area to be more pink than orange. So it's going to be dominantly pink for now. If you have tendrils like this, you want to make sure those are also pink so that you just don't have to deal with it later, right? Make sure your colors are nice and full. Then you can get to your second color, which in this case, again, we're going to be doing this reddish orange, maybe? No, that's not going to look good. Let's do... Let's look a lighter version of it, maybe? I can't see that looking good, honestly. Oh, I accidentally deselected it. Oops. If you ever lose the ore, like you ever unmagic wand it, you can do Control Shift click with the magic wand, and it'll select all of the same color, but you can do it again and again, so that like, let's say I shift click here and then I shift click here, it removes the black and selects the pink. If I do shift control and then I do this, then it also selects the black and the pink. So now we have this back. This can be a pretty difficult process, just figuring out what colors you want. I'm actually going to redo this because I don't like the coloring that I chose. So let's try this again. Alright, so I'm going to do this, I think I'm going to do this sort of like tealish color, and then I'm going to have it transition to a light yellow. Though I do want this a little bit more blue, so. Yeah, like here. I'm going to do around the same general area that I colored in last time. Okay, so we have our boundaries, like what do we want to be blue. Now we just have to make it into our second color, which... Actually, wait, let's just do like this pinkish purple color. Yeah, that'll work well. That'll work really well, actually. So then for all the areas that you want to be more pink and blue, you're just going to color it in here. And now we can actually get started on making the gradient. So we have our first color and our second color right here. So this is like an in-between color. So we're going to do this, and we're just going to color that color into the center here. Like so. Right? And then we're just going to slowly shift it into our desired color. This can take a very long time, just depending on how you're doing it, but you generally want to go piece by piece. Actually, I think this might be good right here. Just like so. Yeah, okay. And then you'll just move on to the next part. I prefer to do one color at a time. Like, I don't like to do the blue on here and then the pink on here and then the blue on here and then the pink on here. I just like to do it all at once. Whether or not you make this, like these tendrils in accordance to the gradient, like because it's higher up, it's going to have the same color. That's completely up to you as well. Though I will say most people that at least from what I've seen, most people will leave it as is. So let's go out here. Maybe make that a little brighter. Actually, keep it around here. Doing gradients is very hard, but it's very rewarding. These can look really good if you do it right. If you don't feel like clicking on the color wheel, you can actually just change the color value yourself manually through here. Though this can be a little bit tricky. Especially just getting the right color. But I think that's good. So yeah, I'm gonna work on... Actually, I think with the colors that we chose, transitioning it into pink kind of just works, like, fluidly. I think really I just need to touch it up in a couple places and it's good to go. Yeah, like here. Okay, and then we can get to our shading, which is kind of tricky considering we're using a gradient, but it's not that hard. For the base color, you know, like this base pink that I have right here, I'm just going to do my normal shading methods. Just like that. Actually, I want this to be a little... There we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and do my blue as well, right down here. Actually, I think this should be a little bit darker. It should be just a little bit more obvious that what I'm shading dark. All right. I'm gonna make these ultra bright, just for the sake of visibility. Yeah, this should be good. As for shading in the gradient parts, it's pretty tricky, sadly. you kind of just want to select like the color here and then just give a darker variant of that and then rinse and repeat for every single like grade of color that you have on here. There's not really an easy way around this. It's just kind of just like a slow, tedious process that you have to do. Like that. Sometimes you're able to get away with doing like just getting into position what like colors you want or where you want to be shaded, sorry, and then actually just doing it. Right, kind of like that. It just takes a while. It's not that hard, it's just a bit annoying to get done. And then kind of a similar idea for the shading part, and I'm gonna just make this a little bit brighter. Do like this, maybe. This needs to be more blue down here, so I'm gonna do that. I think I can call this part done, though. It's a little rough, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. I think this is good. Alright, so you don't have to apply the same color gradient to the other pieces, but I recommend doing it because it just gives it a more consistent feeling. So that's what I'm going to do for here. I'm just going to do this and go ahead and fill in these and fill in this. I'm just going to go ahead and do all of them. For really small chunks like these ones, you can honestly just do them one color, which is what I'm going to do here for the sake of simplicity. Same with the dots that are scattered about. You can do those whatever color that you want. No real rhyme or reason there. I like to do single colors on them because it's very hard to get a good gradient on really small pieces of ore. So here we have it. Let me go ahead and add my pink. If you want to, you can just go ahead and get the base gradient lined out for all of your ore pieces because selecting the correct color can be a little bit difficult once you've already shaded. So that's something that I would recommend if that's for you. Alright, now I'm going to get back to just doing this. I don't really have a lot else. There's not really much else to teach here. This is pretty much it in terms as far as it goes in gradient making. Of course, there's a couple other like niche tips and whatever that are really only applicable to specific ore types and blah blah blah. But still. Let's do blue. Actually, I'm just gonna select this because I'm losing the color, honestly. I feel like that is good. Okay, and I'm just gonna shade this really quickly, and we'll move on. Actually, honestly, I don't think there is much to move on to. That's pretty much everything that I have to teach about gradients. Yeah, actually, I can't really think of anything else that I could show. I might make a more advanced version of this for like better tips on gradient shading and whatnot, but we'll see. Yeah, I think that's it. So, there you go.